But the Drakthul weren't done. Taking their provocations one step further, they sent a small squad of soldiers to an unguarded human colony on the edge of known space. The soldiers didn't attack anyone directly, but they landed on the colony, marched around, and made it clear that they could enter and leave human territory whenever they wished. Their message was simple: "You cannot stop us." This final insult pushed humanity to its limit. The images of alien soldiers trampling through a human colony flooded the media. Earth's citizens felt violated and outraged. They no longer saw the aliens as simple bullies. They saw them as a threat to human dignity and safety. People began to protest, demanding that their leaders take action. "Enough is enough!" became the rallying cry across Earth, echoed by millions. Even human leaders could no longer ignore the people's anger. The choice was clear: either show strength or continue to be humiliated. Yet Earth's leaders knew they couldn't simply attack. The Drakthul were too powerful, and they had allies in the Union. In secret, they gathered with military advisors and scientists, discussing a plan they had hoped they'd never have to consider. A hidden project that, if activated, could change the way the galaxy viewed humanity forever. Back on Earth, the anger from the public was growing, but the leaders remained calm. They understood that reacting impulsively could lead to disaster. Humanity had always taken a peaceful approach in dealing with the galaxy, and they didn't want to throw that away, especially when the Drakthul were so powerful. But with each new provocation, the pressure was mounting. Earth's citizens were demanding action, and the government could no longer stay silent. In the quiet chambers of the United Earth government, world leaders gathered to discuss their next move. A sense of unease hung in the air. They knew that the galaxy's eyes were on them. If they were seen as weak now, they could lose all respect, not just from the Drakthul, but from the rest of the Union. But how could they stand up to a species like the Drakthul without starting a war? At the same time, behind closed doors, a much smaller group of individuals was meeting in secret. These were people who had been working on something for years, something the public had no knowledge of, a hidden project known only to the highest levels of government and a select few scientists and military leaders. It was a project designed to prepare humanity for situations like this one, when peaceful diplomacy failed and war seemed inevitable. It was something the leaders had hoped they would never need to activate. The project was called Project Phoenix, and it had one simple goal: to give humanity the power to defend itself against any enemy, no matter how strong. The idea behind it wasn't just about building better weapons, but about tapping into human potential in ways never before imagined. The project was meant to unlock technology and abilities that humanity had been developing in secret for years, technology so advanced it could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. But the decision to activate Project Phoenix was not an easy one. The leaders knew it would change everything. Once they unleashed humanity's hidden strength, there would be no going back. The galaxy would know that Earth was no longer a weak, defenseless species. It would be seen as a force to be reckoned with. While the leaders discussed their options, a sense of responsibility weighed heavily on them. They couldn't afford to be hasty. Every decision had to be carefully considered. They understood the consequences of war. Even if they had the power to defeat the Drakthul, it could spark conflict across the galaxy, drawing in allies from both sides. It wasn't just Earth's fate that hung in the balance, it was the fate of humanity's place in the galaxy. For days, the debate continued. Some argued for diplomacy, hoping to find a peaceful solution that would avoid open conflict. Others, however, were convinced that the time for peace had passed. The Drakthul had pushed too far, and humanity had to show that it would not be intimidated any longer. In the end, the leaders made the difficult decision to activate Project Phoenix, but with one condition: they would give the Drakthul one last chance to back down before unleashing their hidden power. The message was simple: we are not the weak species you think we are. Stay out of our way, or you will face the full force of humanity's might. With that decision, humanity's hidden strength began to stir. And as Earth's leaders prepared for what would come next, they knew one thing for certain: the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The situation on Earth had reached its boiling point. The public was furious. For weeks, the Drakthul had continued their provocations, slowly pushing humanity to the edge. Despite multiple warnings and diplomatic messages, the alien faction refused to back down. The last straw came when the Drakthul launched a surprise attack on one of humanity's most peaceful colonies, a small outpost on the moon of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The colony had been a symbol of human achievement, a place where Earth's best scientists and engineers worked to study the wonders of space. It wasn't a military outpost, but a research facility. It was a place of peace, and the Drakthul knew that. But that didn't stop them from attacking. In the dead of night, their ships arrived. The Drakthul didn't bother to send a warning or make demands. Instead, they simply fired upon the colony with devastating force. Buildings exploded in fireballs, and the research labs were reduced to rubble. The people of Europa, mostly civilians, had no chance to defend themselves. They had always been safe from conflict, living in a place far from Earth's political struggles. But the Drakthul didn't care. The attack sent shock waves through the human leadership. Earth's government had already been stretched thin with the ongoing diplomatic efforts, but now there was no question. Something had to be done. This wasn't just a matter of political disrespect anymore. It was an act of outright violence. The Drakthul had crossed a line that humanity could never ignore. As the news of the attack spread, outrage erupted across Earth. Protests turned into riots. People were angry, confused, and terrified. How could the humans allow this to happen? How could they let such a powerful alien faction attack them without retaliation? Many were ready to declare war immediately, but Earth's leaders still held on to a thread of hope that diplomacy could work. They called an emergency meeting, determined to address the situation without rushing into violence. In the hours following the attack, military leaders and top scientists gathered in secret. The room was tense, and the weight of the decision ahead hung over everyone. The choices were clear. Continue negotiating, hoping that the Drakthul would reconsider their actions, or take a stand and unleash the full power of humanity's hidden weapons. The military commanders argued strongly for the latter. They knew that humanity's resources had been quietly building up over the years, preparing for a worst-case scenario just like this one. It wasn't just a matter of having better weapons. It was a matter of protecting the people of Earth and sending a message to the galaxy. The Drakthul had attacked civilians, and that could not be allowed to stand. Humanity's leaders had been hesitant, but now, with the attack on Europa, they could see no other option. It was time to activate Project Phoenix. The decision was made. Humanity would no longer sit back and be bullied by the Drakthul or any other alien species. A final message was sent to the Drakthul. This is your last chance. Cease all aggression or face the full strength of Earth. The response was cold and dismissive, typical of the Drakthul's arrogance. They didn't believe that humans had the courage or the means to retaliate. They didn't know how wrong they were. With the message sent, humanity began to prepare for the next phase. As the leaders looked at each other in the war room, they knew the galaxy was about to witness something it would never forget. The Drakthul had made a grave mistake, and Earth was ready to prove just how wrong they were. With the Drakthul's dismissive response to humanity's final warning, there was no turning back. Earth's leaders knew they had reached the point of no return. The time for diplomacy had passed, and now it was time to show the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. The hidden weapons and technology developed under Project Phoenix were about to be unleashed. But this wasn't just about advanced technology. It was about the strength and resilience of the human spirit. In secret military bases scattered across Earth's continents, preparations began in earnest. The first step was the activation of a fleet of new warships. These ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the Drakthul could ever imagine. The ships weren't just built for battle, they were built with one specific purpose in mind: to strike fear into anyone who dared to challenge humanity. The fleet was hidden for years, built in the deep recesses of Earth's oceans and under remote mountain ranges. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to be nearly invisible to alien sensors and armed with weaponry far more powerful than anything the Drakthul had encountered. But what truly made these ships unique wasn't just their firepower, it was the crew. The humans who were chosen to pilot these ships were not ordinary soldiers. They were the best of the best, selected from a global pool of soldiers, engineers, scientists, and leaders. They had been trained for years in secret, preparing for this moment when Earth would face its greatest test. These were the people who would show the universe what humanity was capable of. As the final preparations were made, Earth's leaders made one last broadcast to the galaxy. The message was clear and simple. You have forced our hand. You will regret underestimating us. The broadcast was short, but it resonated across the galaxy, reaching every corner of the Galactic Union. The words echoed in the ears of the Drakthul, who had long dismissed humanity as insignificant. Now they would see how wrong they were. The hidden fleet, along with Earth's elite soldiers, made their way toward the Drakthul's stronghold in the galaxy. The ships moved quickly, silently cutting through space. They were guided by advanced AI systems, capable of predicting enemy movements and bypassing even the most sophisticated alien defenses. But even with all the technology and firepower, Earth's true strength lay in something else: the willpower of its people. These weren't just machines moving through space. These were human lives, driven by the need to protect their home, their families, and their future. They had been pushed too far, and now they would fight for the survival and honor of all humanity. As the fleet neared the Drakthul's territory, the first wave of ships emerged from the shadows of a nearby asteroid belt. The Drakthul ships, still arrogantly patrolling their space, were caught completely off guard. They had no idea what was coming. Within moments, the first battle began. The Drakthul tried to fight back, but their weapons were no match for the human fleet's advanced systems. The humans fought with precision and determination, each ship moving in perfect coordination, wiping out the Drakthul's forces. The Drakthul were stunned. They had never seen anything like this before. For the first time in their history, they were faced with an enemy who wasn't afraid to fight back, an enemy who wasn't intimidated by their power. And as the battle raged on, the Drakthul realized their mistake. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price. But Earth's hidden power wasn't just in its technology or weapons. It was in the spirit of its people. They had been pushed to the brink, but now they were fighting for everything they held dear. And with every victory, they were proving to the galaxy that humanity was not just a species to be ignored. It was a force that could never be stopped. The battle against the Drakthul raged on, but humanity was showing no signs of slowing down. The Drakthul, once seen as the most powerful species in the galaxy, were now struggling against Earth's hidden fleet, a force they could never have predicted. The shockwaves of the fight echoed across the stars, and the galaxy was watching in awe. The humans fought not just for survival, but for their place in the galaxy. Every ship, every soldier, every scientist was pushing themselves beyond what they thought was possible. The elite fleet had already destroyed several Drakthul warships, and the alien forces were beginning to retreat, bewildered by the relentless power of humanity. But Earth's forces knew they couldn't stop until the message was clear: humanity was no longer to be underestimated. As Earth's ships closed in on the Drakthul's main command station, the alien fleet made a final desperate attempt to push them back. The Drakthul, though powerful, had never encountered a species like humanity, one that could endure pain, push through fear, and fight with unyielding determination. The humans were not just soldiers, they were families, communities, and nations united under one cause: to protect their future. In the heart of the battle, a human warship, the Resolute, led the charge. This ship, one of the most advanced in the fleet, was the symbol of Earth's strength. Its captain, a veteran of the harshest battles, led with courage and calm, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The crew of the Resolute fought with a unity and purpose that the Drakthul could never match. Each member of the crew knew what was at stake, not just for Earth, but for all of humanity's future in the galaxy. As the final confrontation began, the Drakthul's fleet attempted to create a blockade around their command station, desperate to hold back the human advance. But it was too late. The humans had already broken their defenses, and their fleet was closing in on the heart of Drakthul power. A massive space battle ensued, with both sides taking heavy losses. But in the end, it was humanity's superior tactics, their advanced technology, and their unbreakable resolve that won the day. The Drakthul were forced to surrender. Their once feared empire crumbled before the unstoppable force of humanity. Earth's fleet moved in, and the Drakthul's command station fell into human hands. The galaxy had witnessed the impossible. Humanity, a species once seen as weak and insignificant, had brought down one of the most powerful empires the galaxy had ever known. The aftermath of the battle was quiet. Earth's leaders, while victorious, knew that this was not the end. The Drakthul's surrender was a massive victory, but it came with its own set of challenges. The galaxy had seen humanity's strength, and that had changed everything. The once peaceful neutral species had now made its mark on the universe. And while some might have celebrated humanity's newfound power, others, especially those who had once looked down on Earth, would see this as a threat. The balance of power had shifted, and the galaxy would never be the same. Back on Earth, the people celebrated their victory. The Drakthul's empire had fallen, but the war was not just about defeating one species. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity was no longer a species to be ignored. Earth had proved that even in the face of overwhelming odds, it could rise, unite, and fight back. In the days and months that followed, leaders from across the galaxy sent messages to Earth. Some were offers of alliances, others were threats of retaliation. But the message was clear: the galaxy had changed, and humanity was no longer just a footnote in its history. The people of Earth had proven that when pushed too far, they would unleash a power no one could match. And in the vast reaches of space, the galaxy would forever remember the day humanity stood up and fought back.